Welcome to Asterisk Bong Toi Trong Dem, Darkness in the Night. Tonight, I invite you to listen to the story called Asterisk Asterisk, The House on the Hill, Asterisk Asterisk. A tale that began on what seemed like an ordinary, peaceful day. Vin and Hill lies on the edge of Dalat's outskirts. In the morning, it's veiled in mist like a thin curtain of smoke. By afternoon, the wind hums through the pine forest, a sound like whispers just beyond hearing. Locals say the ground here is cold, cold to the bone. Colder than winter winds or steady rain. That day, Hung's family moved into their new home, a two-story house painted pale yellow. Standing at the end of a winding hill road, Lan looked up at it, her eyes filled with cautious hope. Their two children, Mai and Fong, chattered like little birds. They laughed together, unaware that the fog around them was quietly growing thicker. "It's so pretty, Mom. I bet it's cool at night." "Cool, yes, but a little lonely, sweetheart." Lan's voice softened as her gaze drifted toward the dark pines. The scent of damp earth and resin lingered heavy in the air. Hung laughed. "City noise wore me out. Here, just hearing the wind feels like freedom." Lan said nothing more. Deep inside, she only hoped his words would prove true, that peace really did live here. That afternoon, once the movers left, Lan walked through the house. It was clean, new, yet somehow different. The wooden stairs creaked even though they'd just been refinished. The curtains swayed in the breeze, but from a corner came a faint tap tap tap, steady and strange, like someone knocking in rhythm. Fong ran into the living room clutching his ball. "Mom, is someone upstairs? I heard footsteps." "No one, honey. There are only 4 of us." "But I heard them. Thump, thump, then it stopped." Lan froze. She looked up. The sound had gone silent. Only the wind sighed through the cracks of the window frame. That night, they ate dinner together. The lights flickered, dim, bright, dim again. Hung joked. "That's Dalat electricity for you. The mist messes with it." Lan forced a smile. The bulb above them quivered, casting trembling shadows across the table. Mai glanced out the window. Outside, fog had swallowed the path completely. A dark shape drifted near the fence line. She gasped. "Dad, someone's out there." "Who?" "I saw someone, standing by the garden." They all turned to look, nothing. Only the dense mist pressing against the glass. Lan shivered and shut the window. "It's just fog, dear. That's how it always is here." But Mai knew what she saw, a still figure standing in the haze. That first night on Vietnam Hill was bitter cold. Lan lay on her side listening to the wind hiss over the roof. Hung was already asleep. Downstairs, Fong murmured in his sleep. "Don't come closer, no. Don't come closer." Lan jumped up and ran down. The boy lay curled up, eyes wide open, staring at the far corner. "Fong, what's wrong?" He pointed with a trembling hand. "Mom, that lady's been standing there." Lan looked. No one. Only a wall mirror reflecting the dim yellow light, yet there. Faintly, a foggy smear like a handprint just made. Lan pulled him close. "It's all right, honey, you just dreamed." He shook his head hard. "No." She smiled at me, her teeth were all black. A chill crawled down Lan's spine. Everything was silent again, except for the clock ticking somewhere deep in the dark. The next morning, Hung stretched and smiled. "Big day today. I'm meeting the new boss, might be home late." Lan nodded wearily. Her eyes looked tired. At breakfast, Mai sat still, voice low. "Mom, last night, I saw her too. The lady Fong talked about." Lan's breath caught. "You saw her where?" "Behind me, in the mirror. While I was brushing my hair." Lan's heart stopped for a beat. Outside, the mist still clung to the hills. Vietnam was silent, except for the wind slipping through wooden walls, whispering softly as if calling someone's name from far away. That afternoon, the sky over Dalat turned gray. Wind slipped through the open window. The curtains swayed gently. and tiny droplets of mist gathered and fell onto the wooden floor. Lan prepared lunch, but unease weighed on her chest. Each time she passed the mirror in the living room, a chill ran down her spine. Yesterday it had been clear as glass, today it was fogged over. As if someone's breath still lingered there. Fong sat playing by himself, murmuring softly, "Miss, what's your name?" Lan turned around. "What did you say, sweetheart?" "I was talking to the lady in the mirror. She told me not to go to the garden." Lan took a sharp breath. "Fong, there's no one here but us. Don't say such nonsense, okay?" "But I'm not lying. She has long hair and wears a white dress. She said she's been here for a long time." Lan gripped his hand, it was cold as ice. Sweat trickled down her forehead. The whole house was so quiet she could hear the faint buzz of a mosquito. Later that afternoon, Mai sat studying in her room. The dim light filtered through the window. Her reflection shimmered faintly in the mirror. As she bent over her notebook, she suddenly heard someone breathing behind her, warm, close, human. She turned, no one. Then she looked back at the mirror. Her own reflection sat there, but behind it, a dark figure flickered. "Who's there?" No reply. Only a faint humming, like the wind whistling through a narrow gap. Then, in the mirror, something moved. A hand, sliding slowly across the glass. Mai trembled and yanked the curtain shut. When she looked again, the shadow was gone. But on the mirror, smeared and wet, were words. "Don't stay after dark, asterisk." By dusk, Hung came home, his shirt damp with fog, his body heavy with fatigue. He smiled. "Work's good, people here are nice, just a bit far from town." Lan didn't answer. She sat on the couch, staring at the mirror. "What's wrong? Do you see anything strange with that mirror? I keep wiping it, but it never clears. Mirrors fog up in cold weather. It's just moisture." Hung turned on the TV. Voices filling the silence. Lan stood up quietly and went to their room, her mind still uneasy. That night, the fog thickened so much that outside was nothing but white. Dogs howled somewhere on the hill. Fong was asleep, but Mai tossed and turned, unable to rest. She grabbed her phone. The faint glow lit up the ceiling. Suddenly, the screen went black. In the pitch-dark silence, a whisper brushed her ear. "Mai, don't go outside, they're watching you." Her heart pounded. Who's there?" No reply, only the wind screaming harder, bursting the window open. A rush of freezing mist swept into the room. She ran to shut it, and in the mirror, two eyes were staring straight at her. Downstairs, Lan startled at the noise and rushed up. Mai sat trembling on the floor. "Mom, someone called me from the mirror." "You must have imagined it, just the wind, honey." "No, Mom, they said they don't want us here." Lan put her hands on her daughter's shoulders. All right, I'll cover the mirror, okay?" She took a white cloth and draped it over the glass. Instantly, the room fell silent. No wind, no whisper. But from behind the cloth came a soft chuckle. Lan and Mai froze. It was faint, but unmistakably a woman's laugh. Cold, muffled, rising from behind the white fabric. From downstairs, Hung called up. "What are you two doing up there?" Lan took a deep breath, steadying her voice. "Nothing, dear, the girl just got scared of the wind." Hung laughed. "You've only been here a day and already talking about ghosts and wind. You'll get used to it." Lan said nothing. But deep down, she knew that laughter wasn't the wind, and it wasn't human. It was cold and slick, like the breath of the earth itself. The next morning, Hung got ready for work. Before leaving, he paused at the door, frowning. "Last night, I thought I heard footsteps outside, slow ones, like someone dragging something." Lan's face paled. "Footsteps?" "Yeah, I went out to check, but no one was there." He chuckled. "Probably a stray cat, there are tons around here." Then he left. Lan stood in the doorway, feeling the chill seep into her bones. Outside, the fog hung thick as ever. And through that pale curtain of mist, someone, or something, stood on the hillside, watching their house. The next day, fog blanketed Dalat from dawn until noon. Wind howled through the pine trees, sounding like someone crying in the distance. Lan was cleaning the kitchen when she heard a faint knock, rising from beneath the floorboards. She froze and looked around. The sound came again, slow, steady, deliberate, as though someone were tapping on the wood from below. Lan crouched down and pressed her ear to the floor. Knock, knock, knock. It was clear, right under her feet. Her hands trembled slightly, but she forced herself to stay calm. Probably the water pipes. But then she remembered, this house didn't have a basement. So why was the sound coming from under the floor? That evening, when Hung came home, she told him what she'd heard. He chuckled. You must have misheard. New houses make strange noises. No, it wasn't that. It sounded like someone knocking from underneath. Hung frowned. All right, I'll check tomorrow. Maybe there's an old storage space down there. He said that lightly, but that night, after everyone had fallen asleep, it was he who woke up startled. Because the knocking returned, right beside their bed. Knock, knock? From beneath the wooden floor. He grabbed his phone and turned on the flashlight. Nothing. The sound stopped for a moment, then resumed, as if answering the light. Who's down there? Silence. Then a long, soft hiss. A gust of cold air slipped through the window gap, whipping the curtains violently. The next morning, Hung fetched a crowbar and pried up a section of the floor. The family gathered around, anxious. Beneath the planks was a small hole leading into darkness, thick with the smell of damp and rot. He shone his flashlight down. The beam caught the glint of a rusted metal door, chained shut. Lan stepped back, her voice shaking. Don't open it, please, just close it. No way. Could be a wine cellar or storage from the old owner. He climbed down and pried at the lock. Crack. The sound was dry and sharp. The door creaked open, and a rush of cold air poured out, dense and heavy. Like a breath exhaled by something long dead. Lan covered her nose. Mai gripped her mother's hand, and Fong stared into the hole. The boy whispered, "She's in there." Everyone turned to him. "What did you say?" Fong didn't look away. "The lady from the mirror. She said this is her home." Lan hugged him tight, her heart pounding. Hung shone the flashlight deeper. Inside, he saw the faint shapes of old items, a wooden chest, metal frames, and a small burnt notebook lying in a pile of ash. He picked it up. The cover was scorched, but a few blurred words remained. Diary 1983, asterisk. That night, he opened it. The pages were yellowed, the handwriting uneven. The first entry read, "Greater than, we moved here because the land was cheap. But no one told us about the old grave behind the garden." He turned the page. "Greater than, every night we hear crying beneath the floor. Then the knocking. They warned us not to disturb the soil behind the house, because the old ones rest there." Lan shivered. "You see? I told you something's wrong with this place." Hung closed the diary, his tone firm. "Nonsense. Probably delusions from the previous owner." "What about the knocking? What about the woman the kids saw in the mirror?" He sighed. "I'll ask the old owner tomorrow." That night, while everyone slept, Lan heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow, dragging, bare feet on wooden planks. She got up and peered out, nothing but darkness. Suddenly, the cloth covering the mirror slipped off. In the dim glow, the glass reflected a woman, long hair, white dress, standing right behind her. Lan spun around. Empty. But in the mirror, the figure still stood there. Lan's body shook, she stumbled backward, hitting the wall. Then came a whisper. "Give me back my place." Lan screamed. Hung leapt up and ran to her. "What happened?" She gasped. "She's in the mirror, the woman." He looked, nothing but smooth glass. He frowned. You need rest. You're letting your imagination scare you. Lan said nothing. But as he turned away, the reflection behind him returned, tilting its head, smiling faintly. At dawn, Mai noticed papers scattered by the front gate, flyers advertising houses for sale. They were from neighbors. 3 nearby families had moved out within a week. She looked around. Vietnam was silent now, fog in shuttered homes. From somewhere far off, a wind chime rang, lonely, metallic. A chill ran up her arms. And when she glanced back at her own house, in the upstairs window, a white figure stood there, watching her, smiling. That morning, Lan woke up with a heavy head. Across the ceiling stretched a gray water stain, long and uneven, almost like the mark of a hand. She sat up, listening. Somewhere in the hallway, something was brushing against the floor. Swish, swish? Like someone sweeping. She called softly. Mai, are you up already? No reply. She stepped out. The hallway was empty. The curtains swayed gently in the breeze. Outside, fog still clung thick around the hill. But there was something different in the air. A smell, damp, earthy, and faintly metallic. The cold seeped into her skin. Phong peeked out from his room, hair messy, eyes half closed. Mom, she came back. Lan froze. Who? The lady from the mirror. She asked why you haven't given her things back. Lan swallowed hard, forcing her voice steady. Phong, don't talk nonsense in the morning. Go wash your face, okay? She told me not to go into the cellar. She's scared down there. The boy mumbled and wandered off, still muttering. Lan stood rooted, goosebumps covering her arms. The basement, Hung had locked it yesterday. Yet she still felt someone waiting down there. By noon, Hung called from work, irritation in his voice. Someone's messing with us. I found ashes or dirt scattered at our door. Maybe those weird neighbors. Most of them have already moved out. Lan paused, then asked quietly. Did you finish reading that diary? No, it's all nonsense. Don't let it get to you. I'll be home later. He hung up. Lan gazed out at the yard. The fog hadn't lifted. Wet grass glistened in the pale light. Among the blades, something dark caught her eye. She stepped outside and picked it up. A small, mud-stained handkerchief, embroidered with a single letter, H. That afternoon, Mai came home from school. She was quieter than usual, with dark circles under her eyes. Lan asked, "What's wrong, honey?" Mai whispered, "I dreamed of a woman standing in my room, holding a baby. She was crying, but her tears flowed upward." Lan's body went cold. It was just a dream. You've been studying too much. Mai shook her head slowly. It wasn't a dream. When I woke up, my pillow was wet and cold. She turned and went to her room. Lan watched her go, a stone settling heavy in her chest. That night at dinner, the silence was suffocating. Hung stared out the window. Strange thing, at work, everyone avoids Vietnam. When I asked why, they just said, "Don't stay there too long." I laughed it off, but honestly, it's eerie. Lan spoke softly. Maybe we should sell the house. Hung. He frowned. We just got here. Stop feeding on gossip. Then, a asterisk clink from under the table. Something had dropped. Fong's small voice quivered. It wasn't me, Mom. She's sitting under the table. Everyone froze. Lan pulled him behind her. Hung bent down, flashlight in hand. Nothing, just the cold wooden floor, and faint muddy footprints shaped like bare feet. That night, fog smothered the entire hill. Lan woke suddenly to the asterisk whispering swish of curtains moving. Soft, rhythmic, too deliberate to be the wind. She whispered, "Hung, wake up, I think someone's outside the window." No answer. He was either asleep or pretending. Lan got up and crept to the window. The white curtain billowed slowly. She reached out and pulled it aside. A blast of icy air hit her face. Outside, through the mist, stood a woman, back turned, hair cascading down her shoulders. Her white dress was soaked through. She didn't move. Lan's knees went weak. Then the woman turned around. A face drained of color. Eyes black and hollow. Mouth torn wide. Lan screamed. Her cry echoed through the house. Down into the cellar. And from below came the sound again. Knock, knock. Slow, heavy. As if something beneath the floor was answering back. That night, Lan stayed awake. Every time she closed her eyes, the woman's face in the mist appeared. Those hollow black eyes seemed to look straight through her. Hung lay beside her, unaware. He slept fitfully, twitching sometimes and mumbling words she couldn't make out. Around 3 in the morning, Lan heard the asterisk knock, knock, asterisk again, coming up through the floor. This time the tapping was slower, clearer. It came in groups of 3 beats, then stopped, as if counting. Then a thin, ragged woman's voice whispered up from below. "Give it back?" Lan sat bolt upright, drenched in cold sweat. She shook Hung. "Wake up, can't you hear that?" He opened his eyes and frowned. "Hear what?" "Someone is under the floor, speaking." He sat up and listened for a few seconds. Then the voice came again, weaker, like breath seeping through the wood. "Give back?" Hung turned on his phone flashlight and peered down. The floor was silent. He said quietly, "There's nothing. You heard that because you're scared." "No, I really heard it. Didn't you hear it too?" He was silent. They looked at each other. Outside, the wind screamed louder and a window slammed with a bang. The next morning Lan called a repairman. The old man, thin, about 60, inspected the house and stayed quiet for a long moment. He said, "This place used to be burial ground. You know?" Lan went pale. "Burial ground?" "Neighbors say that before this subdivision was built there was a mound here. Some graves were moved, but some were probably left behind." Lan felt faint. "Left behind? Where?" The repairman looked at the floorboards and murmured, "Right here. This floor was built to cover the mouth of a hole." Lan's legs gave out. A cold crawled from her soles to the nape of her neck. "So, what should we do?" "Don't touch it. If you hear things, leave it alone. Don't open it again." He gathered his tools and walked away. Lan stayed motionless. That afternoon Hung came home. When she told him, he snapped. "What nonsense. You believe strangers too easily. But the people here have lived long. Didn't you notice the neighbors moved away?" He shook his head and scoffed. "They moved because of rumors. I don't believe in ghosts." Mai came down from upstairs. Voice small. "Dad, I think Mom is right. I saw in my dream that someone lies under the floor." Hung frowned at his daughter. "Now you're joining in?" "No, really. The person was buried with a box." Fong whispered. "She says they are not at peace. She can't go." Hung snapped. "Enough. There is no woman. I forbid you to talk about it." He slammed his hand on the table. The glass trembled. Silence swallowed the house. Outside, mist thickened and a fine drizzle fell, blanketing the hill. That night Hung couldn't sleep. He heard slow, heavy footsteps in the house, like someone wearing wet shoes. The steps stopped at his door. Then, there was breathing. Asterisk, huff, huff. Long, steady, and ice cold. He sat up, holding his breath, straining to listen. The door was closed. The night light cast a warped shadow of him on the wall. The breathing grew closer, as if right next to his ear. "Do you remember me?" Hung snapped on the light. There was no one, only the curtain fluttering. And on the window glass a small, wet handprint. In the morning he kept quiet and didn't tell Lan. He went outside and lit a cigarette. Smoke wavered into the mist like incense. On the ground the muddy footprints from the day before had reappeared. Large adult prints mixed with small childlike ones, leading straight toward the house. He bent to look, and then something whispered at his ear. "You opened the door, now no one can save you." He jumped and spun around. No one, only wind, cold and damp, drifting through the pines. That evening Hung took the diary out again. In the middle pages a faded line read, "Greater than, whoever opens the cellar door will hear my voice, until what was stolen is returned." He turned the page and found a folded note tucked inside, written by a different hand. "Greater than, be careful of the woman in the mirror. She does not come alone." The room darkened. The desk lamp flickered on and off. From the wall mirror, vapor rose and fogged the glass. In that mist a face formed, deathly pale. Lips pressed tight, eyes as black as pits. Hung staggered and dropped the diary. That voice whispered close to his ear again. "Give it back to me, before it's too late." The next morning, Dalat stayed gloomy, blanketed in fog all day. Cold winds slipped through the cracks in the windows, fluttering the curtains like thin ghosts. Lan was cleaning when she heard a asterisk creak from behind the wooden cabinet. She looked up, thinking it was a rat, but the sound repeated, rhythmic, deliberate, like gentle tapping on the wall. She called softly, "Mai, are you doing something back there?" No answer. She walked closer. The cabinet was old, pressed tightly against the wall, a second-hand piece bought from the previous owners. Behind it, there was a hollow space. She bent down and prodded with a broom handle. A wooden plank fell loose, revealing a narrow, black gap. A wave of cold, moldy air seeped out. Lan shivered. "Oh my God, what's in there?" The noise stopped. Then, from within the darkness, came the sound of slow, steady breathing. Her hands shook. She stepped back and hit a chair. It toppled with a crash, bringing Hung running from the next room. "What now?" Lan pointed with trembling hands. "Behind the cabinet, there's a hollow. I heard someone inside." Hung frowned and shone his flashlight in. The beam reached into a cramped space, wooden walls, heavy dust, cobwebs everywhere. And deeper still, a small wooden door, locked with a rusted iron latch. He touched it, it was ice cold. "A sealed room," he murmured. Lan's voice trembled. "Don't open it. What if something's in there? I need to know. Whatever's haunting us is connected to this." He forced the lock. It snapped with a brittle crack, like breaking bone. The door swung open, releasing a gush of cold, stagnant air that reeked of damp decay. Inside was a tiny room, barely 6 square meters. Peeling walls, a low ceiling, a small wooden table covered in dust. On it sat a half-melted candle. On the floor, faint circular markings, drawn in chalk, like some kind of warding seal. Lan clapped her hand over her mouth. "Dear God." Hung looked closer and saw a dark stain in the corner, dried and brownish, the color of old blood. On the table lay a crumpled sheet of paper, ink faded to black. "Greater than, do not break the seal. Whoever opens this door will inherit my curse." Fong stood at the doorway, wide-eyed, whispering. She said, "This used to be a prison." Hung turned. "What did you say?" Fong fell silent, face pale as chalk. That night, they tried to seal the gap and push the cabinet back. But as Lan did, she heard a soft laugh, right beside her ear. "Too late, you've opened it." She screamed. The whole family rushed in. No one saw anything, only a faint scent of incense, though no one had lit any. Mai's voice shook. "Dad, I saw someone behind Mom, in the mirror." Hung gripped her hand tightly. "There's no one here, you imagined it." But even he, for an instant, glimpsed a white shadow drift past, not walking, but gliding. That night, Hung lay awake. Outside, the wind howled across the hill, pine branches whispering. Then, the faint sound of breathing near his ear. He opened his eyes. A drop fell onto his forehead. He wiped it, blood, bright red, smearing down the pillow. He jumped up and shone his flashlight toward the ceiling. A thin crack ran across it, seeping dark liquid that trickled slowly down. His heart pounded as he backed away. Within the crack, a face began to take shape, eyes wide open, mouth twisted into a smile. You opened the door, now you'll pay. Hung stumbled back against the cabinet. The doors burst open, a rush of icy air blowing out the light. Darkness swallowed the room. A woman's laughter echoed through the house, mingled with the crying of children. Lan clutched her 2 kids. Trembling, Mai screamed, "Dad, there's someone inside the cabinet." Hung grabbed a stick and struck the doors hard. Nothing. Only an old notebook fell out, flipping open to the final page, scrawled in shaky handwriting. Greater than, the room must never be opened, they never left, they only wait for the next. Outside, lightning flashed. For a split second, they saw her, a woman in a white dress standing in the yard. Long hair hanging wet, her head bowed, staring up at the second-floor window. The wind rose, wailing across the hill like the cries of the dead. The wind howled all night long. Outside, the pine trees bent and whispered, their leaves scraping together like murmuring voices. Hung's house sat in silence. Lan lay still, eyes wide open, afraid to close them. On the ceiling, the old crack remained, faintly red, as though blood had seeped through the wooden planks. In the next room, Mai faced the wall. She tried to sleep, but a soft voice echoed inside her head, steady, breathy, calling her name. "Mai, come here? Mai." The voice was light as air, hidden within the wind. She sat up abruptly, heart pounding. Moonlight spilled across the vanity mirror beside her bed. On its surface, a faint misty handprint. Mai swallowed hard, whispering, Who's there?" The wind pushed through the window, flapping the curtain violently. In the mirror, her reflection stared back, but behind her shoulder, another figure began to form. Long hair, tilted head, still as death. Mai gasped. "Mom!" Lan burst in, flashlight in hand. "What's wrong?" Mai pointed at the mirror. "There's someone standing in there." Lan shone the light, only the 2 of them reflected back. "No one's there, you're just frightened, go back to sleep." But as Lan turned away, mist slowly reappeared on the glass, spelling faint words. "Give it back to me, asterisk." Lan didn't see it. Only Mai did. Her lips trembled, her eyes dull, lost in trance. The next morning, Mai sat silently at the table, staring at nothing. Fong, cheerful as always, spoke up. "The lady came to play with Sister Mai last night." She sat in the mirror. Her hair was wet, and her eyes looked so sad. Lan froze, voice shaking. "What did you say, Fong?" She said, "She misses her daughter. She wants to see her again." Hung slammed his hand on the table. "There's no woman. Stop this nonsense." The air turned heavy. Fong lowered his head, mumbling so softly only Mai could hear. She said, "Tonight she'll take you to see where she lives." Night fell. Fog thickened like smoke. The house was silent except for the ticking of the clock. Mai sat before the mirror. The yellow lamplight made her pale face glow faintly. Her reflection stared back, until another shadow appeared behind it. A thin, white hand rested on her shoulder inside the mirror. Cold crept down her spine. "Mai." The voice was soft, almost tender. "You look so much like my daughter. Come closer." Mai's voice shook. "Who are you?" "The one who lived here before. They buried me beneath the floor. Now they must pay." The whisper merged with the wind, filling the room. Then the woman's face appeared, ghostly white. Hollow eyes, mouth slit open to the ears. Mai tried to stand but couldn't move. The voice pressed closer. "Don't be afraid, just open the door, and I'll rest in peace." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Which door?" "The cellar door, the one your father opened first." At that same moment, Lan woke up to the sound of footsteps. She blinked. Hung was still asleep, but the bedroom door stood ajar. A small shadow moved across the hallway, slippered feet shuffling toward the stairs. Lan grabbed her flashlight and followed. The steps led her to the living room. The wooden cabinet door hung slightly open. Fong stood before it, back turned, clutching an old doll. "Fong, what are you doing?" She said, "The door isn't fully open yet." Lan's heart stopped. "Go to bed, now." Fong turned slowly. His eyes were black hollows, lips moving stiffly. "It's not me, Mom." The voice was not a child's, it was deep, coarse, a woman's. Lan screamed and rushed forward, grabbing her son. His skin was ice cold, rigid. In that instant, she saw it clearly, a pale hand reaching out from the gap behind the cabinet, clutching Fong's shirt. The house shuddered. The lights went out. In the darkness came laughter, a woman's shrill, echoing through every room, mingled with a child's sobs. Whispers spread like wind. "The door is open now, and no one will escape." Lan pulled Fong close, retreating toward the stairs. Behind her, the cabinet doors burst open, revealing the small hidden door in the wall wide open, exhaling a foul, cold air. Mai stood at the top of the stairs, face pale, eyes vacant. She whispered, "Mom, she's calling me." Dawn never fully came. The Dalat mist hung thick as smoke, swallowing the hills. The house on the slope sat silent, save for the soft hiss of wind slipping through the cracks. Lan huddled in a corner, clutching Fong tightly in her arms. The boy said nothing, his wide eyes fixed on the wooden cabinet across the room. Mai stood by the staircase, her hair hanging over half her face, voice thin as a whisper. She said, "Don't be afraid. She only wants what's hers." Lan trembled. "Mai, who are you talking about?" "Who?" "The woman in the mirror. She said her thing is still in the cellar. If we give it back, she'll go." Lan shook her head frantically. "No, don't believe her. She's lying to you." Mai looked at her mother, eyes blank, lifeless. "No," she was crying. "Mom, she's in pain." Then she turned and started walking down the stairs, barefoot, each step echoing against the cold floor. Lan gasped. "Mai, don't go." She started after her, but Fong lifted his head, his voice suddenly hoarse, deep, not his own. "Let her go. She's calling her." Lan froze. That voice, it wasn't her son's. Beneath the floor, the knock, asterisk returned, steady, hollow. Each strike made the planks tremble, as though someone below was pushing upward. Mai knelt down, pressed her hand to the floor. "Are you here?" A faint whisper answered, drifting like wind. "Yes, help me open the door?" Mai dug her nails under the planks. Each piece came loose with a groan, releasing waves of cold, earthy air. Lan lunged forward, grabbing her. "Stop, please, don't open it, my child." Mai's arm was ice cold, but she pulled away with unnatural strength, her eyes dull and fixed. She said, "She can only rest if I open it." Lan screamed. "Hung, wake up, someone help me." Hung stumbled in, gripping a stick, half asleep. Seeing the scene, he barked. "What now? Why are you screaming in the middle of the night?" "Look, she's tearing the floor open." "So what? We'll fix it tomorrow." "No, she's hearing voices. She's being led away." He hesitated, frowning, then looked down. The boards had been pried open, revealing a gaping hole like the mouth of a well. A gust of cold air rose from it, moaning like a human voice. He swallowed hard and shone his flashlight into the darkness. All he saw was clay, stones, and a patch of white cloth shifting in the dirt. "What the hell is that?" He crouched and poked it with a stick. The cloth surfaced, covered in dust, and with it, a skeletal hand, dry and shriveled, fingers blackened. Lan screamed and collapsed. Mai began to laugh softly, monotone. "There she is, she found it." Suddenly, the power went out. Hung's flashlight flickered once, then died. In the darkness came the sound of dragging footsteps, slow, heavy. A white shape crawled out of the hole, inch by inch. Wet hair hung down, dripping onto the floor. Lan pulled her children close, trembling. "Hung, is that a person?" He said nothing, backing away. The figure stood upright, head tilted. skin white as bone, eyes hollow and black. A rasping voice echoed through the room. Give it back to me. Hung stammered. Give what back? What you hid beneath the floor, what I held when I died. The figure pointed toward the cabinet. He stepped toward it slowly, while Lan and the children huddled in terror. He dragged the cabinet aside and saw a small wooden box, cracked and tied with an old cloth. He picked it up, heart pounding. This? You mean this? The ghost nodded, lips curling into a faint smile. Open it. Lan screamed. Don't open it. But Hung already had. The lid creaked open. Inside was a bundle of dry hair wrapped around a blood-stained note. The faded writing read, "Greater than, whoever takes this shall bear my curse." At once, the wind roared, candles flared, then went out. The white figure lunged forward, embracing Hung. He fell backward, dropping the box as the stench of rot filled the air. Lan shrieked. Fong buried his face in his hands, crying. Mai sank to the floor, covering her ears, whispering, "Please don't be angry, I helped you." Then, silence. The wind stopped. The lights flickered back on. The house was eerily still. The white figure was gone. But on Hung's neck, a black handprint burned deep into the skin. He gasped, eyes wide in shock. She touched me." Lan's tears streamed down her face. "Hung, this is real. He didn't respond. He sat frozen, vacant-eyed, still clutching the bundle of hair. From deep beneath the floor came a final whisper, soft, almost gentle. "The one who opened the door, now belongs to me." That night the fog lay thick and heavy, blanketing the whole hill. The house on the slope sank into a darker world. Lan held her two children close, eyes locked on Hung, her chest tightening. He sat solemnly at the table, still clutching the bundle of hair from the box, his gaze empty. Are you okay?" Hung did not answer. He only sighed, then turned to stare out the window where the wind whipped the curtains into motion. Suddenly Fong rose and muttered, "She's calling Dad outside. Dad must go with her." Lan jolted. "Fong, what are you saying?" "It's not me, it's her voice." Hung gave a thin, hoarse smile, his voice strange and chilled. "I heard it. It's fine. I know what to do." Lan flinched. His tone was cold, unfamiliar. "Hung, why do you sound different?" He didn't reply. His eyes stayed fixed on the long shadow beyond the window. Outside, the wind screamed and the pines rustled. From the floor came the asterisk knock, 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 asterisk again. And a long, spreading sigh that filled the house. Fong backed away, covering his face in terror. "She's coming, she wants to take Dad away." Mai stood on the stairs, unable to move from fear. In the mirror the woman's figure appeared again. She bowed her head, her black eyes fixed on Mai, lips curling slightly. "You opened the door for me, now you must pay." Lan rushed forward, scooping up her children. "Mai, Fong, we have to run." But Hung rose and walked outside. Lan panicked. "Where are you going, Hung?" He turned his head, his voice was hoarse and cold. "I must go out, she's calling." Lan grabbed him, but his hand slipped away like he weighed nothing. The three of them ran into the yard, and froze at the sight before them. A white figure stood in the center of the yard, dress soaked through, hair hanging wet and long across her face. Her dark eyes stared out, merciless and still. The one who opened the cellar, now must repay her debt. The wind and that voice combined, rolling across the hill and making the trees tremble. Hung stepped forward, holding the bundle of hair high. Is this what you want?" "Yes." The voice was icy as ice. "But it's not enough." The white figure moved closer. In that moment Hung staggered back, his eyes hollowed, his hands shaking. Lan saw a pale wash creep across his face, like the color draining from his skin, leaving it cold and lifeless. Fong screamed. Dad isn't Dad anymore." Mai whispered. She has taken Dad. Lan screamed, tears streaming. No, Hung, come back to us. Please listen to your wife. But Hung turned away and walked alongside the white shape. The yard fell into gloom, filled only with the wind's keening and a faint, cold laughter. That night their screams echoed through Vietnam. Neighbors heard but dared not approach. The house on the hill went dark. Lan held her 2 children, trembling on the front steps. Watching Hung stand a few paces away, his gait unsteady, his eyes abyssal and empty. No longer the man she knew. The white woman stepped toward him, slowly enfolding him until they seemed one. Lan cried out, but her scream was swallowed by the mist. Hung, turn back, you are your children's father. A blast of cold wind snuffed every light. When Lan opened her eyes, the yard was still and empty. Hung remained standing, but his eyes were black hollows. He was no longer the man she loved. Phong trembled. Mom, Dad is gone. Lan looked up the hill into the dense fog. The white figure had vanished, but the long sighs and the hollow knock asterisk still echoed on the wind. All that night the house lay under a shadow. Lan hugged her children and told herself, I have to find a way to bring Hung back before it's too late. The morning fog was still thick, blanketing the entire hill. Lan pulled her 2 children onto the porch, eyes fixed on Hung's motionless figure from the night before. He stood there, silent and still, face devoid of emotion, arms hanging loosely by his sides. Phong trembled, whispering, Mom, Dad, he doesn't look at me anymore. Mai murmured, she's inside his eyes now. I can see her. Lan clutched both their hands tightly, her heart pounding. We have to find out what's happening. We can't let him stay like this. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The fog made every sound unreal. Even the wind seemed to whisper words from nowhere. The house, give it back, give it back. The murmur made Lan shiver. Who's there? Who's speaking? No answer came, only the faint rustle of pine branches outside the hill. Lan decided to go down to the cellar, the place Hung had opened before. Darkness swallowed the space, the smell of damp earth filling the air. She turned on her flashlight. The weak beam shimmered on the wet walls, forming blotchy shadows that looked like ghostly hands. Is anyone here? A faint breath answered from beneath the ground. Lan's skin crawled, but she forced herself to move forward. She lifted the cellar hatch and inhaled deeply. Inside, the dirt was mixed with dried blood. A small wooden box lay in the center. Lan knelt down, opened it, and found the bundle of dry hair wrapped around a blood-stained note. The faint, smudged words read, "Greater than, return it, or carry the curse." Her hands trembled as she placed them on the lid, whispering to herself, maybe this is the only way to save Hung. That night, the fog grew even denser, swallowing the entire Vietnam Valley. No one in Lan's family slept. Hung still stood outside, eyes dark as empty wells, unmoving, wordless. Phong sat curled on the couch, clutching his old doll, voice quivering. She said, "I must help, or Dad will be gone forever." Lan hugged him close. "I'll do it, sweetheart, I'll find a way." Then, outside the window, the white figure appeared again. Her dress soaked, her hair clinging to her face, hollow eyes staring straight through the glass. Lan swallowed hard and whispered, "What do you want from us? Tell me." The answer came in a rasping, icy tone. "Return what was hidden, before it's too late." Lan stepped toward the wooden cabinet, the one hiding the cellar's opening. She pulled out the box, her hands trembling, but her eyes fierce with resolve. "If this is what you want, I'll return it, but please, spare Hung." The white figure drifted closer, pointing toward the hill behind the house. "Bring it there, to where I once rested. Place it down, and I will go." Lan looked up at the fog-covered slope, her stomach tightening with dread. But she knew, there was no other choice. If she didn't, Hung would be lost forever, and the curse would never end. Mai tiptoed beside her, whispering, Mom, I'm scared. I know, honey, but we must. It's the only way to save your father. Fong pressed against Lan, mumbling. I'll go too. She said I should follow. Lan nodded. The three of them, carrying the wooden box, stepped into the fog and began climbing the hill. The higher they went, the colder it became. The mist thickened until they could barely see one another. Behind them, the white figure glided silently, closing in, her faint breathing rising and falling. Bring it up, lay it down, return it, return it. Lan's hands shook, but her voice stayed firm. We'll do it, just let Hung go. The fog swallowed their words. Only the sound of the wind, their soft footsteps, and the ghost's whisper remained. As Lan, Mai, and Fong climbed into the misty hillside, where the white figure waited to reclaim what had been lost. Night fog blanketed the entire hill, so thick and cold that Lan and her two children felt as if they were walking through clouds. She clutched the wooden box to her chest, heart pounding, lips trembling. We're almost there, just a little more. Fong followed behind, muttering. She said, it must be placed here, then she'll go. Mai walked beside her mother, eyes wide, voice shaking. Mom, I see her in the fog, she's watching us. Lan drew a deep breath. The weak flashlight beam cut through the mist, revealing the faint outline of the white figure, a woman, motionless, hair hanging long, eyes dark as pits, hands limp at her sides, just staring. We've brought it back, Lan whispered. Please, release Hung. The white figure tilted her head slightly. Her raspy voice echoed through the mist. Only when it is laid down, my spirit will rest. Lan stepped forward and placed the wooden box on the mist-covered ground. A sudden chill rose from the earth so sharply she nearly fell back. But she steadied herself, keeping her hand on the box. Voices seemed to whisper all around the hill. Yes, yes, return it, return it. Then the fog rippled, and from the ground, a pale, skeletal hand broke through the soil. Lan staggered back, clutching her children, heart hammering in her chest. What more do you want? She cried. Look and believe, the cold voice murmured, carried on the wind. Hung stood nearby, eyes vacant, but when Lan looked closer, she saw a faint spark of awareness flicker within them. She gripped his hand tightly. Hung, are you still there? Please, answer me. The white figure slowly approached the box, lifting the bundle of hair within. The wind stirred her long hair, making it float like smoke. This was mine, but those who buried me did not return everything. Lan's hands trembled as she opened the box again. Inside were scraps of blood-stained paper and a tarnished silver ring. You want me to place everything here, don't you? The white figure nodded once. Lan knelt, setting each object carefully onto the ground. The flashlight's glow shimmered through the fog, turning the scene ghostly. One by one, the spirit touched each item, and each dissolved into vapor. When the ring touched the earth, the heavy mist began to thin. The white figure stood still for a moment, then slowly bent forward, inhaling deeply before her form softened, melting into the fog, and vanished. Lan collapsed to her knees, gasping for breath. Hung stepped toward her, his hands trembling. She's gone, right? Lan hugged him tightly, tears streaming down her face. She's gone, but we have to leave, now. Fong clutched his doll, whispering, Dad, I saw her smile, before she disappeared. Mai sat down on the damp earth, her voice unsteady. I'm scared, but she's not here anymore. Lan looked around, the hill was empty. The fog still thick, but the air felt lighter. She pulled Hung and the children close. We survived, but we must leave Vietnam before the curse ever wakes again. Hung turned back toward the lonely house on the hill, where the ghost had vanished, his eyes filled with both fear and weary relief. We have to go, truly this time, there's no other choice. The fog still cloaked the hillside, but in Lan's heart, a faint spark of hope flickered. Maybe, just maybe, they had survived this time. The fog still clung thick over the hillside house, wrapping everything in silence. Lan, Hung, Mai, and Fong stood by the gate, ready to leave. The house behind them was still, yet there was a heavy presence, as if something unseen was watching from the shadows. Fong clutched his old doll, eyes wide, whispering. She said, don't forget next time? Lan shuddered and pulled him close. There's no she, my love, you're just scared. Come on, get in the car. Hung stepped forward, keys trembling in his hand, his eyes still dark, unreadable. Lan whispered, are you sure we can leave? We can't stay here, he said, voice shaking as if he had just awakened from a long nightmare. As they got into the car, the fog thickened, swirling with falling leaves. Lan turned to glance back. A faint white silhouette stood at the second-floor window. She's still there. Hung gripped the wheel tighter, his lips quivering. Don't look back, just go. Mai sat frozen, voice barely a whisper. She smiled, she was looking at Dad. Don't look, honey, Lan cried, holding her tight. Fong murmured. She said, Dad should be careful, she'll always stay near. Lan grasped Hung's hand. We must leave this house before the curse returns. As the car rolled forward, the fog swallowed the road ahead. From afar, the wind carried a faint, chilling laugh. Lan could hear it clearly. The one who opened the cellar carries the debt. Hung stayed silent, his eyes blank, but for the first time, a small flicker of awareness lit them. I won't let my son or daughter be taken, he murmured. The mist slowly began to thin. When Lan looked back, the window upstairs was half open, but empty. The house now stood quiet, drowned in fog and memory. Fong hugged his doll, voice trembling. I think she's gone for real this time. Mai whispered. I hope so, but I still feel cold inside. Lan nodded, her gaze fixed on the hill fading behind them. We survived this time, but the curse of Vietnam will never forget us. Hung reached over, wrapping his arms around Lan and the children. We've escaped, but we must always be careful. Wherever there's a white shadow, we'll never know when she might return. The car rolled away, leaving the house in silence, swallowed by the mist. The weak glow of dawn brushed the hill, but it couldn't chase away the lingering chill. Lan looked out the window and whispered, Goodbye, Vin, and may we never have to return. The fog of Dalat faded behind them, giving way to the bustling streets of a new city. Lan held her children close, eyes darting toward Hung. He was quiet, often sighing, hands trembling as he gripped the wheel. Do you really think we'll be safe here? Lan asked softly. Yes, we'll be fine. We left Vin, he replied, though his voice quivered, lacking conviction. From the backseat, Fong stared at the window clutching his doll. Mom, I still see her in the mirror, when we passed the old house. Mai shivered, eyes wide. I saw her too, but I didn't want to tell anyone. Lan sighed, pulling both children close. We must forget her, never speak her name again. Their first day in the new apartment was quiet. Sunlight spilled through pale curtains. Lan cleaned while Hung took the old wooden box and tucked it deep into a dark corner. Keep it safe, Lan said. No one must ever open it again. I won't, he muttered, his eyes distant yet clearer than before. Fong ran around the room, suddenly stopping. Mom, I saw the white lady in the mirror. Lan froze, rushing over and clutching him tight. There's no one there, don't be afraid. Mai sat silently, trembling. But I know, she's still following us. That night, though there was no fog, the air felt heavy, filled with unseen breath. Lan lay awake holding the children. Sleep, honey, I'll watch over you and Mai, she whispered. Hung lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, fear flickering in his eyes. Then came it. Knock, knock, knock. Soft tapping from the mirror in the living room. Fong whispered, terrified. Mom, it's her, she wants me to open the door. Lan's heart pounded as she stared at the mirror. No one's opening anything. But within the glass, a faint white shadow appeared, wet hair clinging to her face. Black eyes hollow, lips curled in a faint smile. Mai murmured. I knew it, she never left, she's just waiting. Lan squeezed her children tight, voice trembling. We won't be afraid, no one will take your father, or you, or Mai ever again. But deep down, she knew, the curse of Vietnam still clung to them. An unseen shadow waiting to strike. The apartment was silent. But through every faint tap, every sigh in the dark, Lan could hear the whisper. The one who opened the door belongs to me, and the curse is not over. Hung turned to her, eyes filled with fear. We escaped Vietnam, but will we ever escape her? Lan pulled her children close, whispering, as long as we're together, we'll endure. But from the corner of the mirror, a faint white figure flickered, as if whispering one final promise. Greater than, I will always follow, no one escapes the dark. The fog was gone, but the haunting of the curse lingered in the air. And the night had only just begun. The first night passed, seemingly peaceful. Lan held her two children close, eyes wide open, heart pounding. Hung whispered, We've escaped Vietnam, but I still feel the weight of it. Phong sat on the chair clutching his doll, trembling. Mom, I saw her, in the kitchen mirror? Lan shivered, quietly walking over. Phong, don't look, don't open any cupboards or mirrors again, okay? But as her eyes glanced at the mirror, the white figure appeared, faint, wet hair hanging, dark hollow eyes, a cold smile forming. She's back, Mai whispered, her voice shaking. Hung stood up, moving toward the mirror, hand trembling. You came again? Why can't you rest? The white figure said nothing, only stood there, staring, her hands slowly lifting, as if beckoning him to follow. Lan clutched her children tightly, voice trembling but firm. We have to face this, no more running. But she wants Dad. Mai cried. No, he's your father. No one can take him. Lan shouted, tears streaming down her face. Phong murmured softly. She said, we have to do a ritual, then she'll rest. Lan frowned, her eyes filled with worry. What ritual? We've never done anything like that, not here. She said, to give her what she liked, like what we did on the hill. Phong stammered. Hung looked at his wife, voice hoarse. If we don't, she'll take all of us. This time, there's no escaping. Lan decided to bring out the wooden box from the corner and open it in front of the mirror. The dim light from the lamp glinted through the mist, revealing the white figure more clearly. Here, this is what you wanted, Lan said, trembling. The white figure raised her hand, a cold gust swept the room, making the blood-stained paper and strands of hair inside the box flutter. Yes, but this time? I want the soul, a low, chilling voice echoed. Hung stepped back, eyes blank but furrowed in resistance. No, you can't touch my family. Phong screamed while Mai burst into tears. Dad, don't let her take you. I'm scared. Lan took a deep breath, voice shaking but strong. Please, we'll repay everything, just don't hurt Hung or the children. The white figure stood still, staring at them for a long moment, then slowly faded away. The wind stopped, the mist in the room thinned, leaving only the sound of their heavy breathing. Hung stepped forward, hugging Lan and the kids tightly. We survived, but I still feel it, she's not gone. Lan looked around the room, whispering. She's left, but the curse remains. We must be very careful. Phong whispered, trembling. I know, she's still watching us, always. Mai sat down, shaking. I'm scared, but I just want you, Mom, and Phong to be safe. Lan squeezed her children's hands. We'll stay together, no curse can tear us apart. But from the corner of the room, the faint white shadow flickered again, as if whispering. Greater than, I will always follow. No one escapes, the darkness is forever near. The room fell silent. But the haunting from Vietnam still lingered. Night fell over the new city. Lan held her 2 children tightly, eyes fixed on Hung, her heart pounding in her chest. The soft yellow light from the ceiling shone down, but it could not drive away the biting chill in the air. From the corner of the living room, the white figure appeared again, faint, her hair wet, her eyes deep and hollow. The one who opened the cellar door has followed me. This time, the debt will be paid for life, the icy voice echoed. Shivering through the room, Hung stepped forward, hands trembling but resolute. You will not touch my family. This time, I'm not afraid anymore. Fong and Mai clung to their mother, shaking but speaking together. Dad, we have to stay together. Lan gripped their hands, her voice trembling yet firm. We will repay everything, just please. Don't hurt anyone anymore. The white shadow lifted her hand, and a freezing gust swept through the room. The blood-stained papers and strands of hair inside the wooden box fluttered violently. A long sigh filled the air, as if born from deep resentment. Only when I receive it all will I rest, the voice murmured. Cold and hollow. Hung took a deep breath, stepping closer. If that's what you want, we'll give it back, but you must leave my family alone. She won't let go, Fong whispered, trembling. We know, Mai murmured through tears. Lan opened the wooden box, taking out each item, the hair, the blood-marked papers, the silver ring, and held them before the ghostly figure. The lamplight reflected on the mist, casting shifting, ghost-like shadows on the walls. The white figure approached each item, touching them one by one, each dissolving into thin smoke. Yes, all returned, but the soul must be at peace. Hung clasped Lan's and the children's hands. We will stay together, no one can separate us. The spirit stood still, her dark eyes fixed on Hung, then slowly nodded, her voice drifted, faint and cold. I am satisfied, but I will always watch. The wind ceased, the mist thinned. The white shadow vanished completely. The room fell silent once more, only their trembling breaths remained. Lan held Hung tightly, tears streaming down her face. We survived, but we must still be careful. Hung nodded, his eyes slowly returning to normal. We made it through, this time. Fong clutched his doll, voice still shaking but hopeful. I think she won't hurt us anymore. Mai whispered softly. I just want our family to stay together forever. Lan took a deep breath, gazing toward the window. Outside, the city lights glimmered, the fog had lifted. But the haunting from Vietnam still lingered in their memories, faint but unforgotten. At least, the family was free, together, and still had hope for the future. Hung wrapped his arms around Lan and the children, whispering, We survived, and we'll stay together, nothing will ever tear us apart. The fog was gone, the white shadow no longer appeared. Yet deep inside, they all knew, darkness could return at any time. But this time, the family had learned how to face it. Thank you for joining Bong Toi Trong Dem * on this chilling journey to the haunted house on the hill. If you found this story thrilling and want to explore more terrifying tales, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. There are many long nights ahead, filled with shadows, secrets, and unseen horrors waiting to be uncovered. See you in the next episode of Bong Toi Trong Dem ***. Disclaimer. The content in this video is a * fictional horror story, created purely for entertainment and to deliver a suspenseful experience for viewers. We do * not promote superstition * or encourage any dangerous actions mentioned in the story. Any resemblance to real persons, places, or events is purely coincidental. Thank you sincerely for supporting Bong Toi Trong Dem.